So, welcome to VO Journey Academy. My name is Anthony,
I'm Gabby.
and we are voice actors. It's good to
Mhm.
see everybody. It is March 2nd. We are in a new month. We
Crazy.
are in Women's History Month.
Crazy.
Yes, and gosh, February flew by. That was pretty fast. It
Good,
is a
because it was
short.
cold.
Yes, it is. But very excited. If you are new, just joining us for the first
Yeah.
time or haven't done so yet, please hit that like and subscribe button and that bell notification so that when we go live, you get notified and all that other jazz.
Mhm.
Also, this is brought to you by VO Journey Academy, of course. And speaking of which, we've got some really exciting things I think to talk about today.
Yeah.
So something that we created over in VO Journey, I'm gonna let you talk about, Gabby, but I think it's really special to VO Journey Academy and something that I think we're quite proud of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk to us.
Yeah, we're talking about our women's group. It
Mhm.
is Women's History Month, like you mentioned,
Yes.
and gosh, the voiceover industry is an interesting animal because for a little while there were some women's groups that were kind of active in voiceover here or there, and a few of them have become defunct over the years. And I was able to kind of sit back and glean from all of them and realize that what we really need for women in voiceover is a sorority, right? A
Mm,
sisterhood
mm,
and a place to share ideas, to ask questions, to talk about the performances that really define women in this industry, and to share just some of the unique challenges. So we created Vojo, right? I brought this to you almost 2 years ago now, I guess. And we created this group. We meet once a month, and it really is a place for all of the women that are involved in the academy to have a place to kind of talk and run ideas past one another. We have guest speakers, and like this month, I will be doing a little talk on chronic illness
mm,
and some of the different challenges that various women in our community have with managing a chronic illness and being voice actresses.
mm.
So different aspects there. In addition, because it is again Women's History Month, you and I are going to be doing a special workshop
Mhm.
over the weekend and kind of carrying this topic over, talking all about what it means to be a woman in voiceover and how to dominate as a woman in voiceover. So yeah, kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things. So first off, I think very excited about this month and this weekend coming up. And one of the things just right off the bat for me as someone who helps people with their engineering as well as anything,
Mm,
there's so many different things about men and women, especially when it comes to engineering your work. And I know
yeah.
you've talked a lot about this too. And I think that's the first thing. So I know with men, we typically struggle on the lower end of audio because voices are typically deeper and those frequencies pose a challenge
They do.
specifically. Um,
Yeah. I mean, in my knowledge of it, right? Men can become, if they can sound muddy,
mhm,
right? They can
mhm,
sound, there's too much rumble that can happen inside of their booths. I mean,
mhm.
but conversely, right? Women, it's a whole different challenge.
Right.
And one of the things that's always gotten me is over the years, people will talk about different pieces of equipment and obviously specifically a microphone. And I have found that a lot of the mics that men find really, really appealing, they don't necessarily work well for women.
Mhm.
And the same thing goes for our post production settings and for things that we do in cleanup and edit. They're very different.
Mhm,
Yeah.
exactly, and I think that's always been something, for me that has been, just a journey to figure out and understand and,
Hmm.
so talk about some other things. So what are some other things that I think, are especially today and our day and age with
Yeah.
everything going on, What are some things that women, just right off the bat can focus on, for their voiceover career, just starting out, things to look for, things to look out for, right? What do you think? What are some things to start that we would be thinking for women?
I'm always a fan of, especially obviously with performance, of identifying archetypes and really leaning in hard to. I mean, I use the Jungian system like a lot of people
Mhm.
do, the Carl Jung, basis, but understanding the archetype role that you fill and how that influences your performance and
Mm.
how people hear you as a result, right? Their perspective.
I think this is so
That's
important.
huge. Yeah.
Because I remember you saying, so, when we were when COVID, as we came out of COVID, everything was changing, but there was this
Yeah.
trend. I find that women get stuck in definitely specific archetypes, at least it
Mhm,
seems to be,
mhm.
right? And one
Yeah.
of them is, like, every time, a lot of times you hear women in a commercial, they seem just upbeat and excited. Like, everything is so like, they have to be that
Mhm,
way, or it's just not,
mhm.
it's strange to us, right?
Well,
Because 'Cause we're not used to hearing it other than that, and why
mm,
is that? What is that? You know what I mean? So that's an interesting, so, like, when I work with women, and you do too, it's, and I'm not here to say whether something's right or wrong. I'm just here to say what it is,
yeah,
right? And how do you approach that as a woman who's trying to get work? Do
yeah.
you fight the system? Do you go along with the system? Do you do half and half? I don't know.
It really, really does depend on your sound and your skill level. But you're right. I mean, there was a block of time where, yes, to be a woman in voiceover meant every day was a happy day and you were always excited to be here and smiley and kind of, and it's like, wait a minute, that's not necessarily a reflection of reality. And so
Mm,
we have seen a turn away from that. We've seen actresses like Aubrey Plaza, come in, and that snarky kind of pessimistic view has changed a lot of
mhm,
people's thoughts on what it means to be a female actor. So,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I also think too, it's interesting as you dive into that, you realize, we've talked and I've talked on this channel, my journey about discovering when I first started out, I used more of a forward facing voice, and that's not what the market wanted. The market expected
Mhm.
me to sound something like I was this weathered man out in,
Right.
right, and that's what we wanna
Yeah.
hire for, you know what I mean? And I think so that's why I love our women's group, because I think it's so important to have a community that works specifically for where you could possibly get work and how to
Mhm.
go about that. What are some other things? What are some things that women go through that, we're gonna talk about this month?
I think ageism for women in voiceover is a little bit more
Please
prevalent.
talk more about that. Talk more about that.
Well, I mean, like any area of acting and performing, there's always a heavy lean toward younger casting, right? You see a lot of job opportunities where it's like 20 to 30. So, where does that leave a woman in her 50s or her 60s in this? That can be really disheartening. It can be, it can feel like the industry is dissuading older women, but it's a matter of understanding again where you fit and what the expectation of that buyer is. So, if you're just looking at, let's say, commercial casting, right? It is going to seem very ageist. It is going to seem like you are really being expected to perform within a certain decade, and if you don't, then you're kind of put out to pasture, right?
Mhm.
And other areas, that's again just not the case. So we really have to explore that and understand it. The other thing is women's voices on average, and it's because of hormonal changes, they tend to it's easier, I think, to track the aging of a woman's voice, whereas with men we don't really see that, right? And men have a hormonal change to their voice early in life, And once it's done, it's kind of done. It's, there's not a whole lot else that happens. Now, yes, health conditions, just whatever's going on with the physical body can obviously have an impact on vocal cords. But for the most part, if you're not abusing your voice, right, and you're not like a heavy smoker or something crazy, then most men will sound the same well into their 60s. That's not always the case for women, right?
Hmm.
So women, there's a massive difference in their sound between the ages of 40 and 50 and then 50 to 60. So we have to be aware of it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's yeah, because I've worked with a lot of people. I'm trying to think now that you brought that up. I do think that, and that could be a good reason to explore, like to be a part of a place too that helps you explore a variety of different
Hmm.
areas. Like,
Absolutely.
so as I know, like as a man, as you get older, we tend to get lumped into documentaries, um, you know, thing like true crime things that are like these older, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but at the same time, you know what I mean, women are facing that challenge as well.
Hmm.
And it sounds like what you're saying is they're facing it at different levels.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching Bridgerton some over the weekend, right? And there's the narrator who it's very weird if you watch Bridgerton, how you suddenly realize that the narrator is kind of a fake character. It's a weird thing. But anyway,
Mhm.
dearest Rita,
Yes.
it's so
Yes.
funny the way, but that's become now somewhat iconic. And
Right.
this BBC, especially, I think anything British has largely embraced the dame as a character and as a voice that is recognizable. And she represents wisdom and she represents experience, and but they're a little bit more, I don't know, willing to hear from her. They want to hear from her, whereas I feel like in the United States we have a little bit of a barrier there. And so again, choosing projects accordingly. But this is where and why so many women over the age of 40 find a phenomenal home in audiobooks.
Right. Right.
So,
Well, that's why
you
I
know,
was gonna just talk about
yeah,
audiobooks, because
yeah.
that seems to be, but also seems so something, of course, right now too that's going on, right, is, at least in audiobooks, right, is women and the trend of, we call it after dark, but
Hmm.
a
Yeah,
lot of,
yeah.
this, romance,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
spicy romance.
Hmm. Hmm.
That does seem to target women a lot more, but it seems to target women readers,
Yes.
right, or listeners.
Yes.
Um, I do find duets are really picking up.
Hmm.
We're doing more and more duets.
Yeah, a lot of
Um,
popularity there for sure. For
yeah.
sure.
What are some other things? What are some other things
Well,
that
like
women face?
I posted, okay, so there is a certain, and I mean, not to harp on the age thing too much, but there is a certain age where women become more, um oh, this is always a hard one to word, because it does go for any gender, but I think we see it a lot more with women. There's an age where you really start to sound like an adult, and you really start to sound like someone who's confident in yourself and who others want to take advice from. And with women, that's much later in life than it is for guys typically. And so like this morning, I posted a political science piece written ironically by Mary Shelley
I know, it's
before
such an interesting thing.
before she was Mary Shelley. That's why I was like, I love this. And it's a whole
I did a
viewpoint,
double take when you post when the
right?
title, and then I saw who the author was. I was like, Mary Shelley did this.
Isn't that
Although her life's fascinating, really
it
fascinating
is.
if you and who
It
she's
is.
married to, if you do history research on her.
But that's one of the reasons why, that coupled with the fact that it's Women's History Month, the very start of it, I really wanted to publish this, and it
Mhm.
because it's a whole piece on women and women's right to vote. And I mean, of course,
Right.
it was originally written right in 1757, so we know the political
So
climate was
so for
completely
everybody
different.
who doesn't know what you're talking about,
Mm,
all right, what are you talking? So Gabby is she was talking about posting on Academy Voices and
yep,
Audition.
yep.
The name of the book that you posted, A Vindication of Women, Right of Women, of
Yeah,
the Woman.
vindication of the rights of women, yeah.
Right to Women. And yeah, so that's and that's really fascinating, right? I mean, it's wonderful.
It's but, you know,
I've
something
never
like
read that
that
book. I've never
I
read it,
have not
so it's
either.
interesting. Yeah.
But something like that, and when you realize, right, of course, it's her political viewpoint, it's her ideas
Mm,
about she was a pioneer in terms of a woman who was meant to be heard, not just seen, right? It
mhm,
was that era. And but we still have a bit of that, right? We still have a bit of this idea that, you know, why would I take financial advice from a young woman? She
mhm.
doesn't have her finances together. You know, why would I take this kind of advice from somebody under the age of 30? So it's an interesting thing, right? Again, how we as people, what we hear and what we hear from someone else and where they fit in. A large part of what we spend doing throughout the academy, definitely in Vojo, is helping people to understand here's how I hear you. Here's how your peers hear you, right? Sometimes it's really surprising for a woman or a man in their 40s to hear someone say, "Yeah, you sound like somebody in your 20s or 30s." They're like, "What?" It's almost shocking because they see themselves so differently when they look in the mirror, right? And they reflect on their life, they see that cumulative experience. So for somebody to be like, "Yeah, you sound like you're a 25-year-old who just, you know, was at the skate park." They're like, "You can't be serious." But
Right.
that's a big deal because that influences then everything we do from our marketing to our auditioning to the types of jobs we go after, the demos that we produce, all of it.
Yeah, talk to me about, I've always been fascinated. Well, I first got randomly fascinated into this when starting to learn more about Margaret Thatcher and her voice change.
Mm,
And I don't know if anybody's done research about that, but there was this whole documentary, I remember time, and it just fascinated me on before she became prime minister till after she became prime minister and the change she made purposefully to her voice. So before she had a
mhm,
higher pitched voice,
mhm,
and then when she became prime minister, her voice literally got deeper.
mhm,
So how do you feel? I mean, I love both, but it does seem to me that women that do explore a little deeper in their
mhm,
range
mhm.
tends to open up more.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
different,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
There's a number of things, right? Like you're saying from a political standpoint, the power dynamics, the lower tone is something that people take more seriously. They equate it more to, unfortunately, a male voice. There's been studies done on this, and some of them just come down to a higher pitch is less appealing to the human ear all the way around. High
Yeah.
pitches signal bad things to us. A high pitch is a warning. It is a right. It like this is viscerally like this is how our bodies react to it. So something that is a
And
lower
young.
tone, yeah,
That's sort of like a lot
yeah.
of the young, children's stuff, right? Everybody's got that high
Mm,
pitched
yeah.
voice.
Oh, it's up here, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, you bring it down and it signals something completely different. It is also a little bit closer to the chest rumble that
Right.
emanates, right? Has something to do with the heartbeat and the way we think of, you know, things that are soothing, things that are calming. And so for a lot of women, like when I work with women specifically, it's always something I'm on the lookout for is are they pitching up unnaturally and at the
Right.
wrong time? And do we need to bring that down? Do we need to control it? Another phenomena of pitch is when we get faster,
Mm.
we pitch up naturally. A lot of people do that.
Mhm.
You know, if I gotta speed, I'm really gonna get up here. You know, it's gonna start getting higher and higher and higher. And we want to like pull that down because it's the same thing. They're not mutually exclusive. We can be fast, but we can be low.
And this point's fascinating too because this also happens to men. I mean,
Yeah.
case in point, me. I mean, this was something I went through, and it was all about the placement too. And as you're speaking, are you facing it forward? Are you
Mhm.
placing it in the back of your throat?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's always been a fascinating subject to me because it is. Some of it does seem also biological, right? Like how
Yeah.
we like what is that deep
Mhm.
voice makes a that power dynamic. But anyways, it's exciting. We've got tons of stuff going on this
Yeah.
month, so come check us out at Bio Journey Academy as always.
The workshop that we're gonna be doing,
Mhm.
if you've got the link handy, Anthony, and you wanna pop that in,
I do not.
Oh,
Did
boo.
not have
Alright,
the link handy.
we'll do it Wednesday.
Yes, we gotta get
But
Wednesday.
the link to the webinar or the webinar itself is,
Well, it'll be posted a bunch of places,
yeah.
so it'll be posted.
We're going to focus on the history of women in voiceover. We're going to talk about some of the pioneers. Again, we're going to explore some of the common challenges, some of the pitfalls, but really trying to focus in on how, as a woman, you can find your home in this. So
Mhm.
I'm excited to present it. It's going to be fun. Join us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching today. We appreciate it. We will see you
We'll see
Wednesday.
you
Remember,
Wednesday.
Angela's tomorrow.
Hmm.
Angela Old Fest, and then we'll see you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.